So, Prince Harry has been in the news, and it's not about leaving the royal family this time. It's about the fact that allegedly he has said, according to media outlets, that he said, that people should quit their jobs if they're not happy. And this has caused an outrage. Now, before we go any further, let me explain and quote what he actually said, right? First of all, he said that a lot of job resignations you mentioned aren't all bad. In fact, it's a sign that with self-awareness comes the need for change. Many people around the world have been stuck in jobs that didn't bring them joy, and now they're putting their mental health and happiness first. This is something to be celebrated. That's what he said. Now, the headlines that have come out of that are insane. Let me just quote some of them. One of them says, Prince Harry says people should quit their jobs if it's negatively affecting their mental health. Well, he didn't say that. He didn't say that people should quit their jobs. He basically said, if your job isn't making you happy, then you can, right? He's not saying that everybody should go out and quit their jobs. He didn't say you should do it. He was basically, looking at what's happening already, right? And saying, look, good for those people that are quitting their jobs and doing what they want to do with their life. Good. What's wrong with that? Here's another one. Another headline says, some people like to work. Privileged Prince Harry is slammed in social media for saying that people leaving your job will bolster mental health awakening. Look, here's the other thing is that he never said that people shouldn't work. He's basically said, look, if you don't like the work you're doing, then good for you if you can change it. What's wrong with that? Here's another one, another headline. Prince Happy is this one really gets me. Prince Harry is happy you quit your job. Now, I don't think, anybody quitting their job is going to make Prince Harry happy, right? So, just insane media coverage, right, about what he'd actually said. Now, just to kind of put a few things out there, right, is that I think the reason why there's so much of a, sort of media furore over this, and apparently he's been trolled to death practically around this subject, is that when in society we're sold this plan, aren't we, about what we should do, and part of that plan is that you go to school, you get good grades, you leave that, you get a good well-paying job, even if it makes you miserable. It doesn't matter because everybody's miserable, right, with their jobs. You just do that anyway, and blah de blah de blah. You follow the plan. Now here's the thing is that there is a bit of an awakening. People are realizing actually, that plan doesn't always make you happy. Oh my goodness, happiness. Whoever thought about that? Even in the media coverage, the way they're talking about this is that they're kind of intimating that, it doesn't matter whether you're happy or not. You should just do it because that's the way society works. Now, and the other thing is, of course, he's getting a lot of ridicule because he's a prince and they're saying, well, he's privileged, it's easy for him to do it. Look, we've all got choices in this life. Whether you're a prince or a pauper, you've got choices. You can make your position better. You can definitely put your mind and body to work and think, okay, well, how can I better this? And it really gets me, when I hear, the media or society at large trying to keep people in a rut, in their little boxes where they're miserable, because that's the plan that everybody's signed up to. There are people out there, though, that go against the plan. Artists, for example, actors, obviously being my field of knowledge. So actors, they step outside of that a lot of the time. They're basically willing to put themselves to work trying to do something that isn't the norm. In fact, when you tell most people you want to be an actor, oh my goodness, you might as well say you're an alien or you want to go fly to the moon. They just think it's insane that anybody would want to do this, any normal person, right? But at the end of the day, is that especially for artists, they wouldn't be happy doing jobs that they didn't enjoy doing. I can tell you that for a fact. Many moons ago when I was 17, I worked in a bank, and I did for a number of years, and it made me completely miserable. But I didn't stay stuck there. I thought, well, what do I need to do to move out of this situation? And it didn't happen overnight, but I got a plan in place, and slowly but surely, after a number of years, I managed to change that situation. I got out of the bank, right? So it is possible, right? But I think that it's so indoctrinated into society that if you don't get that monthly paycheck, guess what? The world is going to come to an end. And actually, no, it doesn't. And there's other ways of making that work. Now, look, one of the other things that was put out there was saying that Prince Harry's saying this and it's okay for him because he doesn't have a wife, kids, family, all this kind of thing, and mouths to feed. Well, he does, but it's just on a different level, right? Now, the fact is, nobody's saying that you should be irresponsible here. Nobody's saying that, you stop doing, taking care of your responsibilities if you've got a family, for example, right? But it doesn't mean that you have to be completely miserable in every other area of your life. In fact, I don't think your family would want that, would they? So here's the thing. I think regardless of your situation, it can always be done. There are a way to make things happen. And yes, it takes time and effort, and it's not always going to be easy. There's going to be shit times along the way, but that is life. And at least if you've, made your path, you've decided to go down, have to develop your story rather than the story or the narrative that the media or society has given you. At least then, if there are struggles along the way, they're your struggles, they're your choices rather than, and that's why there's a lot of backlash with Harry here right now, because there's a lot of people that don't do that, right? They stay stuck, and then, of course, a prince comes out and says, why don't you just change it? And people are going to get upset about that if they're in that situation. But all I'll say is there's a way to change it. There's always a way to better your situation. And it's just a case of becoming resourceful. Sometimes people say, I don't have the resources to do it. I'm going, okay, well, maybe you just need to get resourceful and make it happen. Anyway, that's all food for thought.